7 things that make no sense. After 60, I spent most of my 50s absolutely terrified of getting older. I worried about every new wrinkle, every gray hair, and what felt like a clock ticking louder and louder. Each birthday felt less like a party and more like a step toward becoming irrelevant, as if I were slowly fading into the background. I was caught in a trap that society builds for us, believing my value was tied to my youth, how much I could produce, and the reflection I saw in the mirror. It was exhausting, just a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety that followed me everywhere. But then, something profound happened after my 60th birthday. It wasn't a lightning bolt or some sudden epiphany. It was a quiet, gradual unraveling of all that stress. I realized just how much of my worry was completely pointless, like I'd been carrying a heavy suitcase filled with somebody else's baggage. So today I'm sharing the 7 surprising social rules and self-imposed pressures I've joyfully let go of to live a calmer, more meaningful life. If you've ever worried about aging, this is the video I wish someone had shown me a decade ago. The first thing I let go of, and maybe the most freeing, was the relentless pressure to look young. For decades, I was a loyal soldier in the anti-aging war. My bathroom was a battlefield of creams and serums that promised to erase, tighten, and reverse. I'd stare at my face in the mirror, cataloging every new line as a personal failure. Society's message was loud and clear. Aging is a flaw that needs to be fixed, and I bought into it hook, line, and sinker. I truly believed that to stay visible, to stay relevant, I had to keep up the illusion of youth. After 60, the absurdity of it all really started to hit me. I looked in the mirror one day and didn't see a list of flaws. I saw a map of my life. The lines around my eyes weren't just wrinkles. They were the echoes of a million laughs with my kids and tears shed for moments that truly mattered. The silver in my hair wasn't a sign of decay. It was a glimmer of wisdom I'd earned. I realized I was wasting so much energy fighting a natural process that I was missing the beauty in it. Studies actually show that as we get older, happiness levels often go up, creating what's known as the paradox of aging. Part of this comes from a greater sense of self-acceptance. Now, letting go of this obsession doesn't mean I've let go of taking care of myself. I still want to be healthy and vibrant, but the why has totally changed. I don't exercise to fit into a certain size anymore. I exercise because it feels good to move my body and keep it strong. I eat well not to fight off a wrinkle, but to nourish my mind and fuel my energy. The whole shift is from a place of fear to a place of love. It's no longer about looking like I'm 40, it's about feeling truly wonderful at 60 plus. There is a deep, quiet confidence that comes from accepting your age not as an ending, but as another chapter of life to be lived fully, not hidden away. The second thing that makes zero sense to me now is the cult of productivity. For most of my adult life, my worth felt completely tied to my output. My calendar was my boss, jam-packed with work, social events, and never-ending to-do lists. Being busy was a badge of honor. If I wasn't doing something, I felt lazy, or even worse, useless. The idea of slowing down, let alone retiring, felt like a terrifying black hole. Who was I if not a producer? This mindset is such a trap. It keeps us on a hamster wheel, chasing a feeling of accomplishment that's always just out of reach. After I turned 60, the pace of my life started to change. And I'll be honest, it was uncomfortable at first. The quiet moments felt empty. But slowly I started to discover something amazing in the stillness. I found joy not just in doing, but in being. I rediscovered hobbies I hadn't touched in decades, like painting and gardening. I found that a slow morning with a cup of tea and a good book could be way more fulfilling than a day packed with meetings. This isn't about being lazy. It's about redefining what purpose means. Meaning doesn't only come from a career or a job title. It comes from connection, from curiosity, from contributing in ways that aren't measured by a paycheck. Volunteering at the local library, mentoring a young person, or just being a present and listening grandparent. These things began to fill my life with a richness my old busy schedule never could. Society glorifies the hustle, but after 60, you realize that your time is a precious, finite gift. It's not a resource to be squeezed for maximum efficiency, but a treasure to be savored. Letting go of the pressure to be productive all the time lets you find meaning in quiet joy, deep connection, and simple, unhurried moments. Number 3 is a real game changer. I stopped caring so much about what other people think. This was a massive shift for me. For so long, I lived my life as if it were being graded by an invisible jury. What will the neighbors think of my messy garden? What will my friends think of this dress? Did I say the right thing at dinner? It was like being in a prison of my own making, constantly filtering my own wants and needs through the imagined judgment of others. The liberation that comes with turning 60 is realizing that most people aren't thinking about you at all. They're the main characters in their own stories, just like you are in yours. And even if they do have an opinion, why should it have any power over your life? Their opinion is just a reflection of their own experiences, not a true measure of who you are. I once read a blog post about a woman who was terrified her neighbors hated her messy garden, only to find out they loved it because it attracted so many birds. We invent these entire stories of judgment that often aren't even real. This newfound freedom is even backed by science. Neurological studies suggest that as we age, our emotional stability improves, and we're less affected by negative comments or events. We gain what people call wisdom, a better sense of how relationships work, and the ability to see the bigger picture. This makes it easier to set boundaries and live authentically without needing everyone else's approval. I now wear what makes me feel comfortable and happy, whether it's in fashion or not. I speak my mind with kindness, but without apologizing for it. I make choices based on my own values, not a fear of what someone might say. The peace that comes from that is just incredible. It's like putting down a heavy shield I didn't even realize I was carrying. The fourth pressure I was thrilled to get rid of was that sneaky belief that I was too old to learn, change, or start something new. This is one of the most limiting lies society tells us about getting older. We're sold this idea that life has a strict timeline. You get an education when you're young, you build a career in your middle years, and then you have a quiet, passive decline into old age. The message is that by 60, your time for adventure and new passions is pretty much over. What a ridiculous and joyless way to look at life. After 60, I began to see this decade not as the end credits, but as a wide-open chapter. With more time on my hands and way less pressure, I finally had the freedom to be curious again. I took an online course in Italian, not because I needed it for a job, but just because I'd always dreamed of it. I joined a hiking club and discovered muscles I didn't know I had. I started writing, not to get published, but for the simple pleasure of it. I have friends in their 60s and 70s who are starting businesses, learning instruments, and traveling to places they've only seen in magazines. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's rooted in what's called a growth mindset. Research on brain health confirms that our brains have a quality called neuroplasticity, which means they can continue to adapt and form new connections throughout our lives. Engaging in mentally stimulating activities and learning new skills helps maintain cognitive function as we age. That fear of being a beginner, of looking silly, holds so many of us back at every age. But after 60, you realize you have nothing to lose and a world of experience to gain. Letting go of the "I'm too old" excuse opens up a universe of possibilities. It lets you become a lifelong learner and an adventurer in your own right. proving that vitality doesn't have an age limit. If any of this is resonating with you, this idea of living with more freedom and less pressure, I'd be so grateful if you took a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people find our community, and I would love for you to be part of the conversations we're having here. The fifth thing that now seems completely nonsensical is following all those strict fashion and beauty rules for women of a certain age. You know the ones. Don't wear your hair long, avoid bright colors, no sleeveless tops, stick to sensible shoes. These rules are disguised as helpful advice, but they're really just another way to get women to shrink and become less visible as they get older. They imply that our changing bodies are something to hide, and that self-expression has an expiration date. For years, I followed these rules without even thinking about it. I'd see a vibrant dress in a shop window and think, oh, I could never pull that off at my age. I cut my hair shorter because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. It was a slow, subtle draining of my own personal style, and I replaced it with a generic, age-appropriate uniform. But after 60, I had a revelation. Who makes these rules? And why on earth should I follow them? Yes, my body has changed. It's softer, it's rounder, and it tells a story of 6 decades on this planet. But that doesn't mean it should be hidden in beige. I started to see fashion not as a set of rules, but as a joyful way to express myself. I now wear what makes me feel good. If that's a bright yellow raincoat on a gloomy day, great. If it's a pair of funky, comfortable sneakers instead of sensible flats, wonderful. This isn't about trying to look 20, it's about looking like me. It's about choosing comfort over conformity and personal delight over public opinion. Letting go of these silly rules has brought a sense of playfulness back into my daily life. It's a simple but powerful act of rebellion against the idea that we should just fade away. Section 6. The need for a crowded social calendar. All right, here's number 6. The belief that a full social calendar equals a fulfilling social life. In my younger years, I measured my social success by how many invitations I got and how many events I went to. A quiet weekend felt like a social failure. I collected friends and acquaintances like they were stamps, often prioritizing quantity over quality. I said yes to everything, every party, every dinner, often out of a fear of missing out or a sense of obligation. The result was a socially busy life, but honestly, often emotionally draining. One of the greatest shifts after 60 has been embracing what people now call JOMO, the joy of missing out. My energy, like my time, is a precious resource, and I've become way more intentional about how I spend it. I've realized that a single deep conversation with a close friend is infinitely more nourishing than a loud party filled with superficial small talk. I no longer feel guilty for saying no to an invitation that doesn't genuinely excite me. I'm choosing to invest my social energy in the people who truly matter, the ones who see me, support me, and fill me with joy. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit. In fact, research shows that strong social connections are vital for both mental and physical well-being as we age. But the focus shifts. It's about cultivating a smaller, more intimate circle of friends and family where you can be your authentic self. It's about having those relationships where you can laugh until you cry, share your fears without judgment, and just sit in comfortable silence. Letting go of the need for a packed social schedule frees you to pour your energy into the connections that truly sustain you. It replaces the frantic hustle of social climbing with the deep, quiet comfort of true belonging. Section 7. Ignoring your body signals. The final and perhaps most crucial thing I've let go of is the habit of ignoring my body's signals. For most of my life, I treated my body like a workhorse. I pushed through fatigue, ignored aches and pains, and sacrificed sleep for the sake of getting things done. There was this feeling that rest was a weakness, and listening to my body's need for a break was a form of giving up. Our culture often rewards that kind of relentless forward motion, but it comes at a high cost. After 60, you just can't afford to ignore the messages your body is sending you anymore. The minor aches are a little louder, the fatigue is more profound, and the recovery time is longer. But instead of seeing this as a betrayal, I've learned to see it as wise communication. My body isn't failing me, it's asking for my attention and care. The afternoon nap is no longer a luxury, it's a non-negotiable part of my day that lets me be present and energetic in the evening. A day of rest after a tough workout isn't lazy, it's essential for recovery and long-term strength. I've learned to prioritize sleep, not as some necessary evil, but as the foundation of my physical and mental health. This shift is all about moving from a mindset of fighting your body to one of partnership. It's about proactive care instead of reactive crisis management. You know your body better than anyone, and honoring its need for rest, for gentle movement, or for different food is an act of profound self-respect. Letting go of the push-through-it mentality doesn't make you fragile. On the contrary, it makes you more resilient. By listening to and respecting your body's wisdom, you build a sustainable foundation for a healthy, vibrant life for all the decades to come. Letting go of these 7 things hasn't been about giving up. It's been about making room. Room for peace, for joy, for authenticity, and for a deeper sense of meaning. This chapter of life, after 60, isn't a slow fade to gray. It's a chance to live in full color, finally free from the heavy weight of expectations. It's the beginning of becoming more yourself than you have ever been. Studies consistently show that happiness and life satisfaction can increase in our later years, a phenomenon often called the happiness U-curve, and now I finally understand why. It's the result of this great, beautiful, liberating act of letting go. TD, I am so curious to hear from you. What is one rule or pressure that you have let go of as you've gotten older? Share your story in the comments below. Your wisdom might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you for being here and for sharing this journey with me. If any part of this video touched your heart, take it as a sign to choose yourself today. Thank you for listening, reflecting, and choosing growth, no matter your age. I hope these words brought comfort, clarity, and inspiration. If you'd like to join me on this journey of wisdom, happiness, and meaningful aging, don't forget to stay connected by subscribing, liking, or simply coming back for more. Your best years are not behind you. They are unfolding right now.